Well, that Sunday morning's run done, and I'm feeling good. I've got just 6 weeks to go until I start my epic 1,000 mile run through the UK, and in this video I'm going to give you an update on what's been happening in the last week. Hello and welcome back to my videos, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about all the things that are going on with my amazing challenge to run 1,000 miles through the United Kingdom. I'm going to start off with challenges, so let's get straight into it and talk about all the challenges that I am confronting at the moment. So as a lot of people will know, the global inflation crisis has hit the UK as bad as it's hit everywhere else. And the prices of things are just astronomical. So my wife and I have been going through all the list of things that we need to do and looking at the vital ingredients for our massive adventure through the UK. And things are very, very expensive. So we're trying to find creative ways to these challenges, and looking at accommodation as one example. We're looking to get a partner on board to help us either sponsor all or some of the accommodation costs. We're looking at in excess of 4,000 Great British pounds for the 70 plus days we're going to be in the UK. So trying to minimize the cost of that challenge when it comes to accommodation. Another thing that we're looking at is how are we going to run our daily schedule. So obviously I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to run X amount of kilometers every day. And then my wife and I are going to meet in the town where we're going to be staying for that evening. And then we're going to have some responsibilities as far as our charity partner, that's Loose Heads. If you haven't been following my videos, I'm doing this run as well to help a charity in the UK called Loose Heads. They're a mental health support charity that helps men and women in rugby clubs across the UK. So one of the challenges we're going to have is to coordinate catching up with representatives from that organisation and partners of that organisation, because after I've done the run every day, I'm going to be conducting interviews, visiting rugby clubs, doing photo shoots, video shoots, to promote this whole mental health awareness campaign that I'm very passionate about as part of this run through the UK. So that's another challenge as well, is just coordinating all of those activities. The next one up is food, and making sure that we have not only access to food, but also getting food in a good, efficient way. So obviously I'm going to be carrying the food with me during my run that I'm going to need for the run process. But then we're going to look at ways in which we can again minimize our cost. We can't afford to go eating at a restaurant every day for over 2 months. So we're going to have to look at creative ways that we can get food and manage that process efficiently. Now my wife's going to be traveling in a support vehicle, so she's going to be taking care of her needs in the morning, and then when we meet up in the afternoon we're going to be obviously looking for ways that we can do that. So if you've got any ideas around how we can be creative with our food sourcing and keeping our cost and budget under control, I'd love to hear from you. So drop me a note in the comments as well. I don't want to be eating fast food, so that's one thing that we want to take off the table. Now, another thing that's going to be a challenge is, of course, the weather. Now, I'm here in Mexico living, and I'm training every day in excessive heat, over 30 degrees Celsius, which is over 86 degrees Fahrenheit, and very high humidity as well. So when I get to the UK, I'm going to be confronted with a lot cooler weather, probably a lot more rain and wind, as well as difficult terrain compared to what I'm traveling on as well. So there's some of the challenges that I've got coming up, and obviously have to prepare very well. So we're currently sourcing the right type of gear to make sure I've got warm and waterproof gear that I can be running in. I don't like wearing a lot of gear, so I like to minimize the amount of gear that I wear That's easy to say. But I want to make sure that I'm obviously keeping warm and not getting hypothermia or any problems around my heat exhaustion from my body. So I'm expecting coming into spring and summer into the UK while I'm doing this run that we're going to have some pretty good weather, hopefully, fingers crossed. But for those days that are going to be a bit wet and wild, I want to make sure that I'm fully prepared. So we're spending quite a bit of time looking at different things to buy because I haven't got all that wet weather gear at the moment. And everything from gloves to a rain jacket and everything else that's going to keep me warm and dry. So that's another one of the challenges that we got. Now the route itself is a separate conversation. I'm going to talk about that in this video, so I'll let you know some of the challenges that we have around that. Arriving and climatizing is going to be another thing. So we're factoring into our travel schedule to make sure that we leave Mexico with plenty of time to achieve a couple of things. The first one is the time difference. We're currently 5 hours behind London here. So we want to make sure that we get there and my body is adjusted before I start the run on day number 1, which is May the 1st. If you want to follow me, by the way, you're going to be able to do that on my YouTube channel, where I'm going to be posting daily vlogs about my run through the UK. So if you want to track me, that's one of the ways to do it. Otherwise, join me on Instagram and Facebook, where you're also going to be able to see content from my daily run in the UK. So acclimatization, giving myself a few days to get used to the weather, go for a few runs when I first get to the UK before we start, and also getting the body clock into sync with UK time is going to be very important. So overcoming these challenges I think is really important, just to make sure we're ticking the box. And those are some of the challenges that I've got. So next up, let's take a look at the route that I'm taking. And if you're familiar with the UK, you'll know that the Land's End starting line is in the southwest of England, shown here on the map. And that's where I'm going to be starting off on day 1. So the course that I've actually created for this run has come from just talking to a few different people. I'd like to give a big shout out right now to Mick Kennish-Ward. Mick has been invaluable. He lives in the UK. He's been invaluable in giving me information and tips going to help me on my run. Mick is a multi-talented runner, and in fact he's going to be running from John O'Groats to Land's End this summer, and he's going to be trying to break the record for unsupported. So he's going to be carrying all of his own stuff by himself and camping out each night to try and get to Land's End in a record time. I think it's around about 19 days that Mick is chasing. So Mick, big thank you for all the help you're giving me in preparation for my run, particularly around my route. Now the route is very haphazard, if you like, because I want to enjoy this as much as I possibly can. I want to see as much of the UK. So on the map that I'm showing you now, you'll see that I've got a bit of a zigzag process going on as I head north up through England, Wales and Scotland. I'm going to be sticking a little bit to the coast, and I'm also going to be going through Wales because there's a couple of beautiful runs through Wales that I want to do. Offers Dyke Trail is one of them, and I'm going to be taking that from just north of Cardiff all the way up to the Liverpool area in England again as I go back into England. So really looking forward to this part of the route. Now some of the things that I have to be wary of is that some of the roads are closed, some of the pedestrian ways are closed. There's tunnels that are closed through towns, there's bridges that are closed to pedestrians. So you need to find all this kind of information out before you take on a run like this. And these things change on a daily basis. So I'm going to be having people helping me along the way to make sure that I get through cities without any wrong turn. And also for my wife, who's going to be driving in the support vehicle. So one of our challenges with the route is to make sure that I can stay relatively close to her during the day in case I have any issues when I'm running, that I can contact her and she can come and help me, and vice versa, that she has a nice easily traverse to the next destination where we're going for that particular day. So the route starts off fairly hilly in the bottom of England, and then I go fairly consistently with elevation every day, somewhere between 400 to 600 meters a day in elevation. It's not until I really get into the Highlands in Scotland where I'm going to be challenged with some not only very long days, some of my days are in the 40-kilometre range, so running a marathon there, and elevation up over 800 to 1,000 metres as well. So by the time I get to Scotland, I know that I'm going to be in super shape, but I'm also going to be tired from the cumulative stress and pressures of the run. So I've got to plan this really well as far as my each day running pace goes, and obviously my fueling and hydration. So a lot of the route is going to be on the roads, some of it's on gravel and trails. So I'm going to be wearing two kinds of shoe as well. I'm going to be wearing a trail shoe, obviously for the off-road stuff, and I'm going to be wearing road shoes for the road sections of this. So making sure I've got the right equipment. I'm going to be carrying also hiking poles for the trail sections just to help me save my legs a little bit on those sections, and not going to be scared to walk up some of the bigger hills as well, because this is not a race. I'm doing this route as my own personal agenda, and I'm not doing it to try and break any records. So those are some of the things I've got to watch out on the route. Most days are between 20 and 40 kilometers in distance. I've got a couple of short days there to recover from extremely long days and tough days that I'm going to have. But once again, the route is really designed in a way that I can get through the 1,000 miles by running what I'm being used to doing in training, or pretty close to what I'm doing in training. So today was my 82nd day on my running streak in training, and I feel as though I'm getting really into it, but I'll talk more about my training in this video run. So the route's coming together really well. Again, thanks to Mick for helping me out with all those little idiosyncrasies on the route. He's been giving me some great tips as well, where to stop and be able to refuel, and some of the things that I've got to watch out for when I'm running as well, with some traffic and obviously a lot of trucks on the road that I have to be careful about. So safety is a big issue. I'm going to be wearing high-vis equipment on myself, and obviously a headlamp as well, so that people can see me on the route as I go through the whole 70 days. So there we go. Those are some of the aspects of the route as far as it goes today. I have now got the route finalized, but that could change because of any closures that happen between now and the 6 weeks and when I start my run. So looking forward to it. Going to be really exciting. Okay, next up I wanted to talk about partners that are coming on to help me with this run. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, for the most part this project is self-funded. I'm not a gazillionaire, so I don't have tons and tons of money. I'm a person that believes in living your dreams in life and finding the means and ways of being able to do that. So I am reliant on partners in helping me out with this run to make it successful. And in the past week, I've been very fortunate to get 2 new partners coming on board to help me out with this particular run. The first one is Lexus in the UK. They're providing a support vehicle, which is a huge thank you from us for that. My wife's going to be driving that vehicle and making sure that I get safely from place to place, and of course is going to be there if I need anything in emergency. So a big shout out to Paul Hatch at Lexus in Bristol, who was able to arrange this support vehicle to us. Thank you, Paul. Very much appreciated, and a great gesture from Lexus. Looking forward to working with them. Obviously a great brand making great vehicles, and we'll be doing a review on the Lexus that we're driving as well, so keep a watch out on our daily vlogs as we head through the UK. The next up partner that we got this week was England Athletics, and Chris Jones, the CEO of England Athletics, and his team. Thank you very much, Chris, for coming on board and helping me out. Chris and the team are going to engage the running clubs across England to come and support me on my run, and they're also going to be sharing our video content on their different channels and platforms across social media. So that's going to get the story out there even more to more people across England and across the world, and great gesture from England Athletics to come on and support this run through the UK as well. So those are the 2 partners that have come on board this week. I'm looking for partners still for insurance, looking for a partner for running shoes, looking for a partner for accommodation, and looking for a partner for fuel for the support vehicle. So there's some of the things that we're still looking for partners for on this particular project. And if anybody's got any connections in those areas, please get people to direct message me and I'll start a conversation. So thank you very much for that. Okay, let's talk about training over the last week and how's it been going and how's the diet going and everything else associated with that. Well, the training's going really, really well. I've had a high volume week this week and I've had no injuries, which is really, really key. So just to run you through what I've been doing every day and how my training schedule works, what I do is I have a long run day and then I have a shorter run day. So because I run every single day, I don't have a rest day. I make sure that my shorter runs, which last anywhere between an hour and 2 hours, are my recovery days, and that's where I get my rest and recuperation from. So I am using the Maffetone method for training. If you haven't heard about the Maffetone method, then it's a simple formula of taking the number 180 minus your age, and that gives you the heart rate level that you should be running at. So for me, 180 minus 58 equals 122. And my heart rate typically is around 122 to 126 when I'm running. Now, the Maffetone method allows you to have a little bit of variation. So it takes into consideration if you've been ill or if you've had some injuries. You can minus your age and add up to 10 beats per minute for heart rate to be considered. So I could go up to 132 because I have had COVID recently. But my heart rate is definitely under 130 for every run that I do. So I swear by this method at the moment because I'm not getting injured. I feel really, really good after every run. I don't have a lot of achy bones and muscles and joints since I've been using the Maffetone method, which has been about 7 months now. So that's working really, really well in my training. So again, example of my running week this past week. On Monday, I would do an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then on Tuesday, I would do 3 hours to 3.5 hours. I did a 4-hour run this week as well, over 4 hours. Did another run of 2.5 hours, another run of 3 hours. So really it's about getting the consistent mileage in my legs. Again, my shorter runs, which are anywhere from 1 to 2 hours, gives me that recovery session. And in conjunction with my core training, which I do every day, it's really helping me to become very much stronger and ability into my exercise as well. So I am going to make a video about the core training and mobility training that I do. So I'll do that in the next week. And you can check out some of the exercises that I do if you're interested in that. I also do a little bit of weight training. I'm not a big guy on weights. I don't go to a gym. I've got my own weights here at home. But I do my weights, and I know that strength training is really, really good for runners as we get older. So I've been incorporating that into my training every other day. So core and mobility training every day, strength and weight training every second day. That's what I've been doing so far for my training. Now this week, with 6 weeks to go, I'm starting to ramp up even further the mileage. And my goal this week is to run 3 or 4 days in a row where I'm running marathon distance. And that's really going to give me a test to see where my endurance and recovery is at as I continue to build my block of training. As I go forward, I'm not going to increase the duration that I'm running. So I'm going to run that 4 to maybe 5 hours maximum per run. And then I'm slowly going to bring it down again because I don't want to get to Land's End for the start of this run feeling too fatigued and too tired. And I certainly don't want to risk picking up an injury between now and the start of this amazing run through the UK. So that's how my training's working at the moment. On the diet side this week, I've been improving a lot, eating more meat again to combine with the carbs. I'm using pasta as my main carb building for fuel for my runs. And during my runs, I've been eating energy bars now, which I'm getting through okay, but I'm still not happy with the combination that I'm using on my long runs. So my 4 and 3 hour runs this week, I was using those energy bars. They're actually like a cereal bar type thing. I'll show you in the next video, but they really haven't been hitting the spot. So my hydration is very good during my runs. I'm just using water and electrolytes. But for my food and fuel, I still need to improve that a little bit. So my diet's going really well. A lot more meat back into the diet now. Cut off bread altogether, and I'm just focusing on pasta as my carbs getting plenty of eggs as well for protein. So building the protein up to get a lot of recovery process done. On the sleep side, that's going really, really well. I'm getting a lot of high quality sleep. In fact, I can sleep easily for 8 or 9 hours a night. And my wife has been complaining about the snoring this past week, so I must be getting into some really good deep sleep, which is great. So I am feeling recovered when I wake up in the morning and ready to go again into the next day of running. We are getting into warmer weather again now in Cancun here in Mexico, although we haven't even really had a winter this year. It's been summer all along, and the humidity is rising again. So I'm using that to my advantage, because I know training in these oppressive conditions are going to give me a major benefit when I get to the UK. So I'm just ploughing along and doing the best I can in these hot and sweaty temperatures and humidity. So a really good week of training, really, really happy with it. Finished, going to recover for some big days coming up this week. So towards the end of this week, and by the time I do next weekend's video on my training update, I'll show you how I've been able to go for those long marathon distance runs back to back, because that's going to be a key part of my training program. So there you go. There's a weekly update on where I'm at with my preparation for my 1,000 mile run through the UK. Don't forget, I'm doing this run to support the charity called Looseheads. I'm a very big and strong advocate on mental health for rugby players in both men's and women's divisions. I want to help as many people as I can by raising awareness. You can support Looseheads by going to their website. I've put the link in the description of this video, and find out all the different ways that you can support that organisation. So for over 2 months while I run through the UK, I'm going to be meeting rugby players, men and women. I'm going to be talking to them about their mental health challenges and the great work that Looseheads is doing to help these rugby players, not only across the UK, but also across the world. So I'm looking to align my running adventures over the next couple of years with this organisation. We want to do some great things to help people and to give back into our communities, and that's another reason why I'm doing this run. So anything you can do to support us is greatly appreciated. Now also, I've had people contacting me from the UK asking me if they can come and join me for a day on my run. The answer is yes, you can. I'd love you to come along and join me on different parts of my run. If you are interested and you want to know where I'm going to be on what days, just send me a direct message and I'll send you my route so that you can see what I'm going to be doing and where I'm going to be doing it. Please don't come and run with me and expect to race me. That's not the goal of this challenge. We can have a nice chat, talk about everything that's going on in our lives, and enjoy the day running, because that's what running is all about for me. Okay, well that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Make sure you tune back into my channel to be kept update, and the best way to do that is to hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell notification, and every time I drop a video, and I just posted a video the other day about the 20 reasons why we love running, so check that out, because there might be quite a few reasons why we love running on there that you agree with, and you might also find out some ones that I haven't put there, so make sure you drop those in the comments. I'm off now, and I'll see you all again soon in another video. Until then, stay well, stay healthy, everybody. And if you get a chance, get out there and go for a run. See you soon.